Supporter, hold on tight because today we've got a bombshell. Newcastle could be about to go after a £78 million Barcelona target, and this name could completely change the direction of our team. But don't rush, because that's the big headline coming at the end of the video. Before that, we got two other stories that are also making noise and shaking things up behind the scenes of the club. I'm Rodrigo, and this is Newcastle Mania, the channel made by a supporter for supporters who live and breathe Newcastle United. You blinked, and Newcastle were in the headlines everywhere. So get ready, because today we got plenty of big things to talk about. But first, just a quick reminder. If you love Newcastle and you want to stay up to date with absolutely everything going on at our club, hit that subscribe button right now. It's free, it helps us a lot, and it makes this black and white community grow stronger every single day. News 1. Season tickets cancelled. Supporter, the first news of the day is one that really touches the heart of anyone who loves being at St. James Park. Newcastle have taken a strong decision. They've cancelled no fewer than 103 season tickets. But don't worry, let me explain how this all happened. It all started with a case that took everyone by surprise. A school in Dundee, up in Scotland, somehow managed to buy 45 tickets for the Champions League match against Barcelona. At first you might think, alright, fair enough, students going to see Newcastle. But here's the problem. Each student were being charged £295 for the package. And here's the most important detail. The club never authorized anyone else to sell tickets in this way. Now picture the situation. Over 110,000 supporters were stuck in the online queue, desperately waiting to buy official tickets. And at the very same time, packages like this were popping up elsewhere with inflated prices. Of course, the fans were fuming. So Newcastle launched an investigation, and what they found was even deeper. It wasn't just that one school. Since way back in the 2015-16 season, some travel groups had managed to get hold of season tickets and were reselling them as packages, always charging more. That's why the club decided enough was enough, and they cancelled 103 tickets on the spot. And what did the club say? They admitted there'd been a lack of control in the past, apologized for it, but made one thing crystal clear. The only correct way to buy a ticket is through the official club website, and always at face value, no middlemen. They also stressed that the club never made a single penny extra on these tickets, and all of the cancelled seats have now been put back on sale through the proper system, giving genuine fans another chance. In the end, that decision actually brought a sense of relief to a lot of the Toon Army, because it shows the club are genuinely paying attention and are ready to defend the supporters who live, breathe, and bleed black and white. After all, nothing is fairer than making sure the seats at St. James Park go to true fans, not people just trying to cash in on the love we all have for Newcastle United. News 2. Elliot Anderson and Manchester United's interest. Right then, Geordies, let's dive into a story that really hits deep in the heart of every Newcastle fan. Elliot Anderson. You remember him, don't you? A lad from Whitley Bay, raised in our academy, who grew up dreaming of playing at St. James Park. Well, last year he was sold to Nottingham Forest for £35 million. At the time, it hurt badly, but it was a move the club almost had to make because of profit and sustainability rules. The PSR. Back then, it already felt strange. Everyone knew Anderson had the potential to shine in the Premier League, but financial necessity spoke louder. It was as if Newcastle had been forced to let go of a future star just to avoid being punished off the pitch. And now, what once felt like a fear is becoming reality. Anderson is absolutely flying at Forest. Last season, he was one of their standout players, helping them finish 7th in the Premier League and qualify for the Europa League. And he didn't stop there. He made his debut for the England senior team, started the game, was named man of the match, and even earned another call-up straight after. That shows just how far the lad has come since leaving Newcastle. And of course, when a player performs like that, the big clubs start circling. And who's turned up? Manchester United. Reports claim the Red Devils are seriously watching Anderson, and even former Old Trafford scouts confirm he's exactly the kind of midfielder they've been looking for. Strong, confident, never hides, always involved in the middle of the pitch. In other words, a real transfer target. And here's a question that every Newcastle fan can't stop asking. Do we have some kind of magical clause to bring him back, or at least earn money from a future sale? Sadly, the answer is no. Newcastle didn't put in a buyback clause. There's no sell-on percentage. Nothing. If we ever want Anderson back, we'd have to pay the full market value. And that price, my friend, is not cheap. Right now, Forest already value him at least £70 million, double what they paid just over a year ago. That means Newcastle, who sold him for £35 million, could watch their academy product leave for a record fee to another club without getting a single penny. It's a tough dilemma of modern football. Selling Anderson was a short-term necessity. It helped the club stay safe within the financial rules, but at the same time it could become a ghost haunting us in the future. Because watching one of your own academy lads shining somewhere else, especially at a rival like Manchester United, that hurts more than anything. And it leaves us with a big reflection. With the strength Newcastle have today, should the club start planning properly so we never lose young talents like this again? The Anderson case is a clear reminder that tough decisions made today can easily turn into regret tomorrow. News 3. The main story. Dani Olmo on Newcastle's radar. And here we go. The moment everyone's been waiting for. The main story of the day. And hold tight, because this is one of those stories that fires up the imagination of the entire fan base. Newcastle could be looking at none other than Dani Olmo from Barcelona. Yes, you heard that right. Spanish media dropped the bomb, claiming that the Magpies are ready to smash their transfer record to try and bring the Spanish midfielder to Tyneside. Right now, the record stands at £69 million, spent recently on Nick Woltemade. But a deal for Olmo could reach around £78 million. That's a massive figure, but we're talking about a very special player. Olmo is 27 years old, right in the prime of his career, with plenty of experience on the biggest stages. He's shone at RB Leipzig, where he established himself as one of the most creative midfielders in Europe, before catching the eye of Barcelona. The problem is, at Barca, he simply hasn't had the chances many people expected. Since arriving, he's only started 13 La Liga games and 6 Champions League matches. Even club officials and Catalan fans have been surprised, because the talent is clearly there. And this is exactly where Newcastle might come into play. With the club becoming more ambitious every season and in need of players who can make the difference in the biggest games, Dani Olmo looks like a golden opportunity in the market. Especially now, after the sale of Alexander Isak, there's room to go big again. Now, here's a beautiful twist of fate. Newcastle face Barcelona at St. James Park in the Champions League opener. That means Eddie Howe and his staff will get the chance to watch Olmo up close, live, in our own house. It's the perfect opportunity to judge whether it is worth such a huge investment. Just picture it, Geordies. We're watching the game, seeing Dani Olmo lining up for Barcelona, but at the same time that thought won't leave our heads. Could he be wearing black and white next season? That's the magic of football, that mix of dream and reality, that fine line between rivalry on the pitch and desire in the transfer market. And let's be honest, signing a player like Olmo wouldn't just be another transfer. It would be a statement to the whole of Europe that Newcastle aren't here to just make up the numbers. It would show that this club isn't content with simply being in the Champions League, but with truly competing with the Giants shoulder to shoulder. Of course, for now it's still speculation. But the fact that Olmo's name is even on Newcastle's radar already shows the level of the project being built here. A player with international experience, incredible technical ability, and still hungry to prove himself on another big stage. So the big question is, will this game against Barcelona be just another Champions League clash, or could it also be the first glimpse of a future Newcastle star? Time will tell. But one thing's for sure, it's a dream we're all allowed to have. Closing questions to fans. So, Geordies, what do you think? Is the club right to take a hard stance against ticket reselling? Do you regret losing Elliot Anderson and think he could be shining in our midfield today? And of course, the big one, Dani Olmo for £78 million. Would you back that signing? Or do you think it's just too risky? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you're thinking. This space is all about us debating, fan to fan, always with passion and respect for our Newcastle. Oyutao! And before you head off, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell to catch all the latest videos, and leave a like. It helps so much to grow our black and white community. Thank you so much for sticking with me till the end. I'm Rodrigo. This is Newcastle Mania, the channel made by fans, for fans. Hoey the lads. The best is yet to come.